everyone. Sorry I'm a little late with today's reports, but it was a very eventful day. It's Monday, Monday evening now here. I'm going to be uploading a series of films from today. Of course, the big story is that the UN accreditation system completely collapsed today. It's pretty clear that preparations were made for maybe 15, perhaps as many as 20,000 participants, and the system has been completely overwhelmed by estimates of up to 40, perhaps 50,000 people attempting to attend the COP15 Copenhagen climate meetings. We, my group, this reporter, your correspondent, arrived, credentialization began today, accreditation began today at 10:30. We arrived at the Bella Center about 10:15. There was already a very long line. In fact, it was difficult to tell how long the line even was, but it turned out to be about 500 yards through a subway station and so on. We stood in line from 10:15 for over 4 hours till 2:30, slowly making our way up. It was about 25 degrees today, so it was extremely cold. Those of you who know me a little bit know that maybe worried that I wasn't wearing socks, as I usually do not do. Luckily I did put on socks today, but there was quite a bit of potential frostbite occurring on this line. It was very cold and very slow. By 2:30, as we just approached, maybe within 50 people, the gate that would have allowed us to enter the building, being both warmer and begin the processing of getting our credentials that will allow us to attend the meetings proper, suddenly the line stopped. And there was no information for about 2.5 hours. There was some chanting, which you will see. Not particularly aggressive chanting, but there was some chanting about let us in. To no avail, though. And finally, a few minutes after 5, someone from the UN came out, and there was still an enormous line all the way behind us. So after a total of about 6.5 hours, almost 7 hours, standing in line, the announcement was made that there would be no further credentials handed out this evening, and that there would effectively be no more credentials for non-governmental organizations of any kind. Non-governmental organizations, or NGOs, were directed to speak to their constituents, which none of us really exactly knew what that meant. Parties, the media, and UN observer groups, which is what we are, were told that they could come back tomorrow at 8 a.m. and get their credentials then. I have no idea what the scene will be like tomorrow, but part of the story clearly is that access is being limited. The story, the assumption is that because there are now over 110 heads of state, far more than were predicted even last week, who are suddenly attending the climate talks, they're simply running out of space. The fire marshal limit, as we would call it in the United States, for the hall itself, for the Bella Center, is 15,000 people. So they are severely limiting how many people are allowed to enter the building. So even if, and I'm assuming we will, get our credentials tomorrow, they have announced that they will also continue to restrict and reduce the number of people during the course of the week who are allowed to actually enter the building, even once you have your credentials. So it's not clear to us whether or not we'll be able to put on our panel, because we may not be allowed to enter the building. So we're thinking about some plan Bs, maybe hosting our panel here at our hotel, or so on. Now, the other events that we're scheduled to speak at are not UN events. They are these parallel events, the Klima Forum, as it's called, which is a civil society forum that we'll be speaking at on Wednesday, and other events are actually organized outside of the Bella Center. So we shouldn't have any problem getting into those, but we're just not sure what will happen on our Friday official UN panel event because of this breakdown regarding who's going to get into the building. As you can imagine, the NGOs, the nonprofit, non-governmental organizations, the advocates in effect, who are feeling very shut out of this event are quite angry with this turn of events, and it will clearly be a bigger story over the coming days about where all that energy is going to be directed, because they're not being allowed into the formal climate talks themselves, where they clearly expected to be admitted. People who have attended meetings going back to Rio, to Montreal, to Kyoto, to Bali, to Delhi, everyone is reporting that it has never been like this before. There's never been so much chaos. There's never been so many people showing up to get into the events themselves. And the UN clearly did not expect so much attention and so much crush, and they've really not been able to accommodate it. So that's a little bit of the news story there. You'll see some footage of conversations standing in line about some of the issues that are emerging here, and as well as a little bit of the discontent about the length of the wait today. But hopefully tomorrow we'll have some more substance to report out about what's going on, and some more information about who's going to be allowed into the hall and who's not. Thanks.